So Chapter raised $1.2 million, but is everything okay with the Kenyan startup? Before you come from my head, just hear me out. So let's go back. Let's rewind back to 2018. Nsongo and Mbabu, they started what will become today's Market Force, right? And they started bootstrapping the company, and eventually they were able to raise $200,000 from family and friends. And they thought they had like all the money they needed to run the startup. COVID happened, and then they lost most of the clients they had gotten from their bootstraps, and then they had to find a way to readjust. So they pivoted the product, and they built a product called Reja Reja. And Reja Reja is a B2B marketplace directly serving neighborhood merchants. They entered into YC, raised $2 million, and eventually raised another $40 million in 2022. And their valuation shot up to $100 million, right? And it started scaling aggressively, right? And eventually funding dried up. The $40 million they raised in 2022, they didn't get all of it. Some of it was audio money. They just pledged and they didn't get the investment. And eventually that product itself was not very sustainable. It was running on investors' fund. And when the investors' fund didn't come in, they had to shut down the product. So when they killed the product, they figured they needed to do something else. And the next best thing they did was to join a startup that they had initially invested in, right? So the startup is called Chpter, and Chpter was started by Mark and Kelvin in 2021 as a social commerce startup. So the founders of Market Force joined Chpter. So Chpter announced they raised $1.2 million in pre-seed round, and they will use the money to build their technology and also expand into Egypt and Nigeria. So I have a couple of observations and questions, right? And this is why I asked in the beginning that what's happening with the startup, right? So when the founders of Market Force, when they joined Chpter, they basically took on the role of CEO and CTO, and as well as co-founders. So they became co-founders in the company, right? And is this because were initially investors and they probably have more ownership rights to the business than the original co-founders? Is that it? I don't know. I'm just asking, right? And is Market Force still running? And if it's still running, why is the founder describing it as if it were dead or shut down, right? And if not, why did you leave your $100 million startup? You leave it to go to this one, right? And I hope this one is actually very important. I hope they have all the $1.2 million in the bank somewhere, and I also hope that they are not scaling too fast like they did with Market Force and with Reja Reja. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Cheers.